Morning, everyone, all you amazing followers out there. Thanks, everybody, for being here. This is Tara Lee Live, and we are the morning show with my co-host, Drake. Drake's taking a dab. How are you, Drake? Starting it off right with a dab over there, dabbing without me. I got to push all these buttons and get everything going here. Let me get live chat up. And make sure if you're tuning in today that you have live chat up and not top chat. Pop out. Here we go. Welcome, welcome. I am going to go in on some lemon juice this morning. Lemon juice jam, they call it. And it is solvent double hash rosin. Here you go. There's a peeky boo of it. Oh my gosh, it looks just delicious. Wonder if they're doing that thing of I have to comment before someone can comment again. Let's try it.
I know that I'm not getting any notifications for anything right now.
Let's see.
I'm having to go manually and find it.
Manual. We'll give everybody just a few minutes because good old YouTube isn't sending out notifications again.
Nope, no close up on this can.
Woo. No close up? No close up for you. No close up for you. There we go. Okay. Now I got everything situated. I can finally take my dab. Here we go.
Nice. Yeah, I'm going to jump in on a little bit of some trop cookies. Just have a little bit left. Had to save some for the show, save it for the morning. So we can have an awesome episode and then continue on into just a beautiful day. I know you said it's a little bit muggy outside, but we got some great weather, so we're going to be going out there, and I have a bunch more just kind of cleaning up and prep to do, kind of trellising up some veggies.
Before we get too carried away, we should talk to those people who are not subscribers. If you're not a subscriber and you have found us searching through the browser or however you got here, we work on natural farming, and we are big cannabis lovers and advocates. So if you think that's something that you might enjoy, please subscribe and follow along and hang out with us. We'd love to hang out with you in chat. We do lives now on Wednesdays and Saturday mornings at 9 o'clock. I am from Washington State, where it's legal. Drake, my co-host, is from Canada, where he also has a legal license up there. So hello, and here we are.
Thanks for tuning in. And appreciate everyone, all the early birds that jumped in right away. It's great to see you. I hope everyone can jump in and medicate in one form or another. Jumping in on this citrus rindy trop cookies. And Tara's hopping in too. She's got a little variety pack, so I already forgot if she said what she's going in on, and I could never guess.
Lemon juice.
I should have been able to guess. Lemon juice, of course.
Woo! Having my lemon juice for breakfast. All right. Well, how's chat doing? Let's say hello to chat out there. We got Sammy Sis. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. We got Lisa in the house. CBC voter out there. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for tuning in today. Hey, Gingerbug, how are you? So we have had some interesting, shall we say, some conversations offline about some specific things that people should be doing when making JMS and also JLF. JMS is Jadam Microbial Solutions, and JLF is Jadam Liquid Fertilizer. So these are two things, two completely separate things that we're talking about, but you actually use them together. So kind of one of the really super important things when you're learning to farm or natural farming, it's super important to use or get organic ingredients. One of the reasons when in the JMS, which is your Jadam Microbial Solution, it's super important to have organic potatoes. If you don't have organic potatoes, you're probably not going to get very good microbial activity because they spray the outside of those potatoes. They're protected with all this stuff that kills microorganisms because they will break that potato down and they want it for storage. So it's super important when starting off to make this stuff that you're starting off with the right product. So that's just the first thing I wanted to put out there for everybody who is starting to make any of your Jadam solutions, any of your pesticides or anything like that. Drake, do you have anything to add on that?
Yeah, and to touch on, ideally sustainable too, not just organic. There's plenty of organic inputs that we can source that we have to have shipped from all sorts of different places that are, you know, not sustainable. So that's kind of the next step to make. If you can get things that are, you know, say for potatoes, for example, pretty well able to grow them anywhere ourselves. They're all over the place. They're, even if you're outsourcing, they're relatively affordable and probably from your location. So work towards that too. Keep a little bit in, you know, keep a little bit of extra room for thought to see where you can tighten up around the edges.
Exactly. So the Jadam, what else can we say? The microbial solution. What's some other tips? The water's super important. You have to, you cannot start off with really hot water or really cold water. It has to be within a certain parameters. Do you remember exactly what those are? I don't right now.
No less than 18 degrees Celsius. If your water's less than that, warm it first. Just don't start it prior to being at least 18 degrees Celsius. At that temperature threshold, if the ambient room is right around there or just a little bit higher, say 19 or 20, you can expect like a 72-hour, 48 to 72-hour time frame. Whereas if it's, say, summer outside, and outside it's a little bit different. The inside, you don't want to start with too warm of water, too hot of water. You want to just have it let's just say a room temperature. When you're outside, you can also have it room temperature, ambient air temperature. So if it's the beautiful sunny day and it's cooking outside, wherever your environment is, it's totally fine to use the water at whatever temperature is outside, because now you're going to be culturing microbes from the same environment that you're going to be applying them as soon as it's done. So, you don't have to be too afraid of you don't have to go pour cold water outside. You can definitely work with the temperature outside, just nothing below 18 degrees, or you'll have to heat the water. And that's a whole nother process that can be done improperly as well.
And in fact, just to add on to that,
yes.
Something that Master Cho does, they actually fill up their water in the day during the morning, and then they let it heat up during the day so that it's ready to make it. That's one of the things that they do. So they naturally use that warming of the sun to do that.
Yeah, and generally that's it's better for application as well. The plants and the microbes will appreciate it more, as opposed to if you give them early morning kind of colder temperature application.
It's also super important when using those potatoes that they're fresh potatoes. You want the best quality going into this product. If you're going to make this product, why not use the best product that you can? So you want to use organic potatoes and fresh potatoes. And also you want to boil them or steam them or bake them. We haven't figured out which is best, but you want to use them right away, and you peel them. You always peel the outside, the peeling, and then you use it. And you always put it in a sock or blend it up really, really fine. Has to be like liquefied. Like you shouldn't even, it should look like just white water. Like it shouldn't even look like potatoes. You shouldn't even be able to tell.
40 seconds kind of thing, right? Like just overkill. You make it if you're going to be pouring it in straight. And then you can even still use a sock, and then it'll just prevent any of the chunkies or any large.
And if you don't blend it, you can do it easy way with a sock, and you just mash it through the sock, and the sock is like your mesh. And so that's making sure that you didn't get any clumps in the water, because that throws it all off if you get clumps in the water. No clumps in the water. And then you also use a sea salt if you can. This is C90. It has amazing minerals to it. This is why we use this one. It's just one of the ones out there. You can use other salts, but sea salt is the most important one, I think, is what definitely recommend using. And there is a certain amount you should be using. We're not telling you amounts because the amount that you use decides on the amount of product you're going to need. And you're going to need to break that down into the amount that you're going to need to know. So we're not giving you specific sizes today. So you put the salt also inside the sock with the potato and you mix it all up, or you can put the salt inside with the blender and you can also blend the salt in with that as well.
For the salt, you need full
blended.
I want to say absorption. That's the wrong term. You need it to be fully dissolved. You need to if you add it directly to the say you're making it in a 5-gallon bucket. If you add it directly to that, you're going to need to stir it a few times quite viciously and ensure that it's all dissolved. Or if you're blending it, you can just toss it in with the potato and a bit of water and allow your blender to do the trick for you.
And Tara has trouser socks. She's been using trouser socks. I've used pantyhose. I've used trouser socks. I've used cotton socks. I've used cheesecloth. Probably my least favorite thing to use is cheesecloth. Too big of holes, the cheesecloth that I have. And so it gets chunks in there. So no chunks. So that's why I've been using like trouser socks or something. And I just I don't wear slacks anymore and nice shoes. So I get rid of all my yucky socks.
And additionally for the salt, just before we graze over too far, non-ionized is kind of the one thing you want. Non-ionized sea salt, it's got all those trace minerals and goodies in there that you add for some sustenance. And yeah, same thing. Socks are great and everything. As I learned, make sure you clean them very well first. Obviously, if you have any detergents or anything, over,
I always wash it with Castile soap that has non-fragrance in it. You don't want any
JWA or wetting agent. Our own soap that we've made now, which is awesome. Tara just made a whole bunch. But with the potatoes as well, just to reiterate and hammer it in, once you boil, bake, whatever, you have to use it right away, as Tara mentioned. I've tried myself letting it sit out for numerous hours, about 8 hours plus, even in the boiled water or out of the boiled water in a solid container, or even in the fridge. And each time the microbial activity, the content and the structures we're looking for to ensure that the JMS is in fact a good collection, let's call it, or a good producer, that won't happen. It won't indicate, and you'll most likely have a failed attempt.
Yep. And then also within the sock, you're also gonna put your leaf mold soil, and I normally add that last, second to last. My last thing I add is a big heavy rock, and I use a fairly big rock that stretches out to keep all of the stuff down at the bottom. It's really important to keep it down to the bottom. You don't want floaties. Again, you don't want chunks in your water.
And that's a great point you bring up, an imperfect kind of unison transition, because if you leave the socks without a weight and you have your leaf mold or your potato or whatever in there, you dissolve most of it. At first, it's going to appear that it's staying down and it's holding down. But as the microbes work away and as more stuff dissolves away, they eventually will start to float up. If you have your socks float up, they will essentially prevent the cycling, in a sense, of the microbes. And the same thing, it'll impair the structures that we're looking for, and it may not 100% ruin the JMS. You know, there's some variance, but just because we're not getting this tested each round and we're not looking at, say, just some statistics, we've got certain parameters to follow to ensure we're doing it correctly. Things just like smell, look, and with the look in term, we see different foam structure, and there's a different time when it's at its peak, when there's, literally it's like 1,000,000 times more microbial activity than just 2 hours prior when it was still super foamy and awesome looking. So it's a bit of an art. There's nothing to it, or there's no doubt to that. But at the same page, it is simple. So it goes both ways. You just have to follow the process like a cookbook. And Tara, you had one more awesome thing in that I think we should touch on, and you make yours specific to the crop.
Oh yes, thanks for mentioning that. Yeah, so you can also use greenery in there, which when I mean greenery, I mean like plants, so pieces of the plant. I had some males that I cut up and I was using them. What I did with those is I also blended them really, really well. I found that the more that I blended the leaves up, the more active my product got, the better the solution seemed to be. Also, you really need to make sure you go out and you get correct leaf mold soil. Like that's also super important. If you don't get correct leaf mold soil, that's part of your other super ingredient. And when we're talking about these all as ingredients, it's super important that we really want to articulate and get this information across to you that it is a recipe. And if any of you have baked a cake or baked cookies or baked bread, you know that if you don't have that yeast in there, that bread's not going to rise. Well, your leaf mold soil is kind of like your yeast. That's kind of like your starter. And the water needs to be warm because your water needs to be semi-warm for that yeast to wake up and they need to be warm and let them wake up and they start to get active. And so all these things are so important. It's super easy. Y'all can know how to bake cookies. Y'all bake something in your life, but it's just like a recipe. You've got to follow it. If it calls for soda, baking soda or baking powder, they're two different things. So you got to really pay attention to what the ingredients are calling for and really pay attention to the amounts you're using. And we're so lucky that we've been working with an amazing friend offline, and Drake and I think I've made more JMS, like I can't believe how many buckets of JMS I've made. Holy cow. I've probably went through a 50-pound bag of potatoes by now, just playing around, learning all this stuff. I think it's almost stab time, by the way. It's almost 4:20 somewhere. Yeah. We got about 2-3 minutes. I see 3 minutes on my computer clock. So how's everybody doing out there? Does anybody have any questions on JMS before we start talking about JLF? I think we'll talk about JLF as soon as we take a dab. I have a selection of stuff I'm going to go in on today. What do I want today? I have been lucky enough to go to my store. Here we go. There we go. There's the gauntlet. Woo! There we go. I went and bought duct tape. That was the one that I was missing. I hadn't tried duct tape yet. I did not like the flavor of it. Not my terpene complex, shall you say. But I mixed it with my lemon and it made me much more happy. So I think I'll try that. I'm going to hit both of them. I'm going to mix it with some lemon and go in on that. What are y'all going to go in on? What are y'all puffing out today? What's up? What's up? How's everybody doing out there? Let's say hello to chat for a minute before we get into some more information. Sammy, tell us about brown sugar again. Oh yeah, brown sugar. Okay, so if you're doing KNF, which is Korean natural farming, which is all Korean, Jeonnam and Korean, they're all the same, y'all. But it's two different. It's like a family that chose two different sides. It's like almost like religion, like someone went Mormon and someone went Catholic or something. I don't know. Anyways, so KNF. Okay, if you're doing KNF, they say you should use a brown sugar. When they're describing a brown sugar, 16 seconds, do it. When they're using a brown sugar, I'm late. I'm going to describe the brown sugar tech. Go ahead. Brown sugar, now you threw me all off. Now I can't even freaking talk. No, I'm thinking of a dab.
Now it looks like you're getting a dab in before we start talking about the brown versus raw.
Screw it, I tried.
We will get into it though. We won't completely forget the question, but we'll make sure that we get a quick dab in right on the dot. And yeah, I shared it in chat. 420 world clock. A good friend of ours showed us that, and it's pretty funny because it just shows you where and when it's 420 all over the world, and different historical things that have happened and people's birthdays, and just random things to peruse at 420 while you're puffing down and medicating. And yeah, I liked how you touched on that. You added in one of the profiles that's a little like louder and that you enjoy more, and were able to actually overpower the one you didn't like and kind of, make a little more out of it.
Yes. Cheers, everyone.
Sometimes it doesn't work so well. Sometimes you think, oh, I'm going to be so smart and I'm going to extend this one with my super loud, awesome, so on and so forth. And then you just ruin them both. So be careful, do trials. Always do trials.
Yeah, I've pressed some different cultivars together. They tasted like shit.
Yeah, and then you can work with the consistencies, and there's a lot of pairing to do. It's a fine art. But sugar, brown versus raw. Once we hack through this beautiful 420 dab somewhere, we'll let Tara jump into it and give you all the rundown, because it's very important. It's kind of just another thing that goes hand in hand, cohorts with following the instructions and the recipe, and just not straying too far off the path when you've got a very designated path to follow. So go ahead, Tara, if you've got your lungs back under you yet.
I'm good. Okay, yes, it's a very cool app, the 420 app. Our friend Cassie showed us that. Yeah, it's not an app. It's actually it's a
420worldclock.com. It's shared in the chat. It's just a site. There's an app for it too, but I'm pretty sure it's just a site.
Website. There you go. Website, not app. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Oh, let me have a drink of water. Ooh.
Then tell me why my brown sugar is no good.
Okay, so
could be no good.
When people are interpreting these books, I have to move my sock out of the way and my leaves out of the way. When people have interpreted these books, they were Korean. These are Korean people that were trying to teach this to us in information. And when you go and you do the translation thing, how things can get lost. Well, when they describe a brown sugar, they're describing a raw sugar, the sugar in raw form, which is brown, which isn't, bleached like we see our nasty sugars. So when they're saying a brown sugar, they were saying raw sugar. Well, us Americans interpreted it as brown sugar. Our brown sugar is not what they're saying. Our brown sugar is our white sugar, bleached, then added molasses to it. So molasses isn't even in the recipe. So that's another crazy thing. Okay, and here's another one. Okay, so another one I just learned the other day. So also to go along with the KNF, the vinegar that they use, they actually use a rice wine. They use rice wine over there, and their rice wine, when it goes bad, everybody knows when your wine goes bad, it starts to get vinegary. Well, they use a rice wine that went bad for their vinegar to make all of their recipes. So we're not even using the right rice wine vinegar to make some of these formulations. So it's going to be really hard to get the same thing when you're using different things in a recipe.
Yeah, very well said. Exactly. And it's not necessarily saying that it will not work with some of these other practices that are being done and being used and shown, but it's just the same thing. It's if we're following a specific technique and there's a very solid structure laid out,
live, right?
you want to stick to it. Do we have an intruder? We've got a visitor.
I'm watching you live.
Yeah.
Look at that. We're watching us watching you talking to us.
Okay, apparently. Oh, and I didn't mute us.
We're live.
We're live. I apparently have a live audience today.
You Jadam muted us.
Okay. I Jadam muted you. Okay.
We couldn't see you.
Can I hear a clap over there from the live audience? Oh shit.
And the crowd goes wild.
Woo! Okay, it's weird having somebody watch you right here. I'm not used to this. Sorry.
I'm watching you right here. They're all watching
right there. Quit. Okay. Anyways. Okay. So is that wine comparable to brown rice vinegar? You know what, Sammy? We don't know. That's the problem. I don't know what their wine is over there. So I don't actually know. So they don't make vinegar specifically. They use the wine that went bad. So like, I don't even like I don't even know if it would be comparable. I would guess it'd be not close, maybe close. So I don't know. It's just kind of weird. So that's the other thing when using KNF, which Chris Trump talks about. He also says I use this kind of rice and I use this kind of sugar. Which is the right kind of rice that they use and the right kind of sugar they use. But if you don't use that kind, how do you know you're getting the right stuff? You don't know. And so many of these little things are getting left out. And so a lot of people are failing at a lot of these things, like the KNF stuff. If you're going to go down the KNF stuff, you have to follow the whole recipe. It's a whole system. It's not like, hey, I'm going to throw IMO here and I'm going to throw OHN over here. And I'm going to then put Jadam liquid fertilizer on it over here. It's really not like that. It's really more structured and more like pick a lane. Now I understand. Right, Drake?
And there's just lots to it. And like, for example, like I just went out recently and I was all happy and I got up super early and I wanted to go and do a dandelion FPJ. And I wanted to do it correctly because the one I had done prior, I had learned wasn't necessarily following to the utmost level of precision. So I went back out, I got up super early before the sun rose. There's dew on everything. And this time I went and I just was picking just the heads. Now, where I went wrong is I had picked heads that had been opened. Now with dandelions, you can tell once they open up and they close, it doesn't look the same. When they've never been opened, they've got it's like a bulb, and then they've got this little eye, and it's very specific. And I was out there and picking them, but like to collect, even a pound of, say, those little bulbs, and I've got a lot of dandelions out in the field. It's a lot, and they're kind of hard to find. And I was seeing there was way more of these ones that had like just opened, maybe the day prior or just a little earlier. And I figured, okay, that should still work. What are we talking about? It should be good. By doing so, if we're going to the root of it, to the core, I totally botched my collection just by doing that, just by not sticking with solely the tight little bulbs and tight little heads. Because if we're looking to the essence, to the principles, that is where all the goodness is. Those right before they open up, that's where everything is stored in there. And you haven't had a pollinator come in and take away some of the goodness, and they haven't had any interactions like that. You're just able to extract everything that it's got for you. So there's my short story long on a simple thing in which I've made plenty of FPJs. Now I'm just looking at them with a fine-tooth comb, made a lot of incorrect FPJs. But even here, where I'm pretty familiar, if not very familiar with the idea, the concept, the practice, and what I was supposed to do, I still mess it up. And then you spend this time, you get up early, you've got your raw sugar, you're mixing it together, you knead it, you put it, you store it away. It's hard to look at now what appears to be a pretty good collection and just know, could have been better, could have been right, but instead it's not. So it's just one of those things. I'm not saying this isn't going to work and have a bunch of amazing benefits and still leach a lot of good stuff from the plant. It's just not the best. It's not the way, and it's not what we're trying to idolize and follow. So why do less? If we're going to put all that effort in, just put a little bit more and do it correctly and follow that recipe.
Exactly. Before we move on to JLF, which is Jadam liquid fertilizer, I want to talk a little bit about pesticides. Just a real quick blurb here. We actually can make our own natural pesticides. Right here in this book tells us like all these informations about how to make all these pesticides, and also it tells us in the other book. But this little leaf right here is what I want to point out. Do anybody know what this is? I would like if anybody in chat, before I tell you what this is. What is this? Do you know what this is? Do you think this leaf is off a tree, off of bush? Do you know? Do you know what this leaf is? This is a leaf. It has not been altered. It's not been like, I haven't cut it, nothing. It's really cool. Okay, it's a few days old. It doesn't look the prettiest right now. I wish I would have been fresh, but I have a few of them right here. And literally what I have right here is enough to make my own pesticide. I actually can make a pesticide out of this.
Just one small batch, enough for a spray. But
Yeah.
the nature of these pesticides, they're only good for 48 hours upon opening. Once you the process, you just boil them and store them as you would canning something. Once you break that seal, it's only about 48 hours, unless you add a certain proportion of vodka to it. Then once you've done that, you need to label it, because now that it's in there, it can provide damage in its own ways. So you have to just keep cognizant that it's not just the straight product on its own. So this way, Tara's just making enough for a single application.
So way cool. We got 2 people in chat that knew what it was. Ginkgo biloba. Nice. We got Diego came and then Fried Pepper came in right after. Congratulations, you guys are awesome. Do you have one of these trees? If you have one of these trees, you could help a lot of Jadam farmers out, because these are really hard to get. All we need is this and the fruits off that tree. I'm actually thinking about buying this tree. I went to my nursery, my old nursery that I go to, and she has one of these trees, and it's 100 years old.
10 years old. 10 years old.
Right? Or 10 years old. Sorry, 100. It's $200. I was going to say $100. $200, and it's 10 years old. I'm thinking about buying it. Why not buy a tree? We just had Josh on here last week talking about trees being cut down. That was so sad. So I'm really thinking about buying a ginkgo tree. And I have never used it as a tea. There's, isn't it supposed to be also a herb that helps your memory and like other things, right? I've heard other things about it. So I'm going to have to learn more about this. And that's awesome. You guys knew what it was. That's way cool.
I'm really glad. That's fantastic.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so I'll show you something else. Let's see if you guys know what this is. Let's see.
Perfect. So I was just going to bring this up because this is.
Do you guys know what these are?
It's just like a ray of sunshine, because the ginkgo is very hard to find.
Anybody
but this,
know what these are?
Not so much.
Let's see. That's one kind. I have 3 kinds right here. There we go.
Most people can grow these.
Another one.
Most people will have trouble getting rid of these once you start growing these.
Anybody know what those are? I'd love to. I should grab I put my jars to a pyre. I would grab it. I already made it.
So keep a dab and let the time difference catch up to chat and see if we get any smarty pants.
They have ginkgo there on Uruguay. Oh my God. We'll go collect all the leaves after they fall, and you can make your own stuff. That's amazing. And the fruits. The fruit. The fruits are super important. Yeah.
Rind.
Yeah. The fruit rind. That's super important.
And I believe he said, Diego mentioned that the seed has a nasty cheese odor. And yeah, it sure does have a interesting odor. I can't wait to experience it myself. I mean, I'm sure I could wait, but I'm just curious to see it and then to produce one of these natural pesticides simply by boiling it down for a few hours.
Okay, I have to say Blaze has got the best fucking hilarious answers so far. Truffles made from crystals. That's knowing me. Yeah, Dragonfly made them. That's fucking hilarious. Oh my God, that made me crack up.
Okay, but what are they, Tara?
Okay, they're sunchokes, you guys. They're actually sunchokes. Jerusalem artichokes or sunchokes. They come in different shapes and forms and tubulars. They're tubulars. And these are a clone. That's also super important to remember. These are a clone. So this is a clone. Anytime you have a tubular of something, you actually have a clone of something. That's really cool. I didn't kind of know that, right? Kind of cool. Because we do a lot in clones in cannabis, so it was kind of cool to relate it to a clone.
I hadn't thought about it either.
Yeah, so it's kind of cool. Okay. Anything, Sunchokes, where are we at with that? Oh, I made Okay, so I made a pesticide out of that, and I sprayed it on I sprayed it on some honeysuckle. Okay, so in here on this honeysuckle, you'll see dead bugs. I sprayed this on my honeysuckle outside and it literally killed all the aphids on my honeysuckle. They're dead. So I spot tested it first. Always spot test it first because you can kill cannabis plants if you spray it on them and the light's too intense. Well, I sprayed it right on my honeysuckle that are being attacked by these stupid, they get attacked every year by these aphids. And literally I went out there, sprayed it on a part right during the day, and it didn't do anything to the plant, but it killed all the bugs. So I sprayed it on 2 other plants. I have 4 of them. I sprayed it on 2 other. The other 2, I'm going to water test. I'm going to spray and hose off just with water. Yep. And I'm going to do a side-by-side trial comparison during this summer to see what worked the best. So far, I think this is amazing. And it didn't smell. It wasn't stinky. I didn't have to worry about getting it on me. And I made it. That's fucking cool.
Let's get a little more even in depth with the Sunchoke specifically. Not too nitty gritty with the making it process, but even then, keep in mind, it's like we're boiling this for generally 3 to 5 hours, canning it while it's hot, flipping the can upside down, let it cool. Then you just wait until use. It's pretty simple. It's a bit more like, we'll get into more depth in that, look it up, follow the procedure, but that's kind of the gist of it. But with the Sunchokes, they're good for darn near any pest you're going to encounter, aside from some specific greenhouse thrips, which are really, really resilient. There's a few, I believe, caterpillars, and then once you start getting into, large like beetles and things like that, you're most likely gonna need to have some additional enforcement. But from what we've seen firsthand and what we're hearing, it's good for darn near every pest, just the Sunchokes alone. And you can use the tubular, you can use the leaf material, you can use all the plant. So it's very beneficial. And for those pesky little thrips, what do we do for those thrips, Tara? What do we have for those thrips if we can't get rid of them with the Sunchoke? Ginkgo. We've got the
the ginkgo.
We've got the ginkgo that we get the hot. Yeah. And one other
stuff the stuff I haven't made yet, right here.
Exactly, but you're going to be right away, and that's incredible, and that looks lovely. I ordered some, but it was just not proper quality. And
so when you get ginkgo and you order ginkgo, try and get leaf form on leaf. It's all crumpled up, and what you don't want, and the reason you don't want crumpled up, it's just like herbs, it's just like our cannabis. When you crumple things up and aerate it and expose it to air and it sits there on the shelf forever, it loses all its fragrancy. It loses what it had, its essence, its thing of the plant, right? And we want that essence. So the fact to have fresh, and if we could get a hold of the rind of the plant, I mean, that'd be amazing. And I'm thinking I want to try freeze drying these, and maybe that would be something I could even preserve longer. I could freeze dry them. And I don't know, just a thought. I don't know, because I have a freeze dryer. Hey, why not?
Yeah, we're looking at all these things on the back end. But then when we're looking at things that are kind of off the beaten trail and off the charts, we're just doing it for the name of science, for our own purposes, right? Yeah. Just to see how it works, so we can kind of start doing our own little testing with it. But before we glance over, the last thing that I think is worth mentioning is with the Sunchoke, even specifically, there's a certain nozzle. And if you pay close attention, it's a nozzle that's mentioned in some videos, and it's one that's given with most the Korean pesticides, I believe. But it's a specific nozzle that's very similar to this car wash foam nozzle. And it's like, if you ever use like a foam gun, it literally will turn your mix, your dilution into that foam. And with that foam style of application, with the wand or with the device being able to do that, it will take on even those pesky thrips, and I believe certain caterpillars, and a lot of stuff, because of just how proficient it works when you're able to use that application style. So that's one last thing, and we're gonna, once we figure out how to lock it down in the States and in Canada, we'll definitely provide whatever link we found for everyone to be able to grab those, because I can't wait. And
okay, so I want to get back to chat because we had some comments here in chat. Dab says, been using rosemary oil with cayenne pepper dissolved in water with a few drops of dish soap. That sounds amazing. You know what? Now you got to be careful of certain dish soaps. I'm learning more and more about all these different types of soaps. That's why we made our own soap. Some of those sulfurs and sulfates aren't made with the best of stuff. So be a little bit careful if you want to be really conscientious of that stuff. You could just go another step farther and make your own soap. And then you could use it for yourself. But that's cool. Like, I love that you're using rosemary. I've used dish soap before. Castile soap's another option to use. Dr. Bronner's. I finally bought Dr. Bronner's last year, and now I made my own soap. So stepping it up. I'm really excited about that. What else? Bavaria Bassiana.
Yeah, Bavaria
Is what I use. Is that how I say it? Bavaria Bassiana. Okay, hopefully I didn't murder that. A fungus will save the world. So he says bye-bye for thrips, and it's a fungus for thrips, apparently. Cool. I don't use that. Fried pepper was on a smoke break. What? Oh, he says smoke break. We need a smoke break. Let's take a smoke break. I'll take a smoke break. And then we'll talk about, we need to talk about fertilizer. We've been putting off fertilizer. Oh, the stinky freaking fertilizer.
But it is definitely stinky, and most certainly if you open it up and give it a stir, but it's not horrible. It's not that bad. I've got it in very close proximity to it's stored to where our bedroom is, and it's not something that bothers us at all. And I've got
your poor wife. That's all I gotta say.
If it was bothersome, it wouldn't be there. I tell you that. I wouldn't.
You are lucky.
Well, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know.
I think she just got nose blind.
Nope. I don't. I disagree, because I will hear it.
Fried Pepper says, I missed the last show, not this time. Well, good. Well, glad to have you here. He's got us in the garden, y'all. Awesome. His wife can't believe he's sitting here with YouTube in the garden. You know what? I take YouTube in the garden all the time. I take Twitch in the garden all the time. I am like, I hardly ever watch TV anymore. It's just crazy. Or listen to the radio. I can't stand the radio anymore. When I go in my car, I have an older car, so I don't have like the Sirius thing. So I have like a Jeep. And so I have like old radio. Oh, I hate all those stupid commercials in our local radio stations. They suck.
Like an 8-track.
I might as well have an 8-track in there. No, sure. I used to have one growing up. Oh God, we already know how old I am. Dab time. Cheers, everyone. Do we have like a weird Hawaii 420 or something? Isn't there always that one? Remember like the 20? We have more than there is 420s. Remember, Greg? What is that?
Some are on the 15 minutes, some are on the 30 minutes, and I think there's like a maybe even odder variations, but definitely somewhere on the 15 and the 30 and the 45 for 420s. So that means we're there.
Sammy says Matthew explained it to him. Well, freaking fantastic. I love Matthew. Matthew talks and it's just like, oh my God, you have to listen to that man, because he like very, very educated. I think he's a super nice guy. I think we've been really blessed to have him part of the cannabis community. And I hope everybody's supporting him. I really do. I think he's a nice guy. Awesome. Here's Stu. Hey, Stu, how are you? We got great 420 community videos. What's up? Cheers, everybody. Claude, how are you?
Did some more garlic, just about finished her up. It was delicious, though. Yeah, next 420 is in 35 minutes in Cape Verde.
Woo! And I mix those two again, but that lemon is a sour lemon. And it's a pucker. Hits me right there. You know where the lemon? And then it comes through the nose. Y'all know what I'm talking about? That lemon hits you here, and then it goes there, and then it dives through your nose.
Getting a little bit of that right now, just with
and then it gives you that weird tingle
out here. Yeah, I got the tingle, the terp tingle going on.
You know, Sammy probably did mention it on our show. Matthew goes so far over my head, I have to go watch several things several times. Drake and I we are those learners that learn through repetition, by saying, by doing, and by doing over and over and over. Because I'll shit you not. Okay, we were instructed one time by this person, we'll just say, to not put our plants out until we sprayed them with this certain spray. And well, Drake moved his plants out and sprayed them outside. Well, I laughed at him and I'm like, you're supposed to spray them before you put them out. What did I do? I moved my plants out to the greenhouse so I could spray them. I just did the same thing I laughed at Drake for.
It's just little things too, right? Like for me, we had to have things line up, and JMS wasn't ready, and I was like, what's the harm? Put them outside first, it'll be fine. No, don't do that. Don't put them out first, it'll be fine. Same thing. Oh, I'll just stick them into the greenhouse. That's pretty much inside still, kind of ish. No, don't do that. It's the same thing. Follow the steps, follow the process. But we're learning, and we learn by doing these things. And now we definitely won't do that again, because at least with that case specifically, we'll remind each other.
Exactly. Okay, so this is called lemon. Someone asked what I was smoking that was so jammy. So there you go. And it's one I buy downtown at the dispensary. Let's see if we get this to focus.
Show me the money.
It'll say lemon juice here in a minute. It'll do it here. We're gonna do it.
I don't even believe you anymore.
Screw you. There. Woo!
See, you just had
1 gram lemon juice jam. And there's the terpene complex right here on this side for you.
Beta caryophyllene, limonene, alpha humulene, myrcene, linalool. It's just loaded right up. That's nice.
Woo! It is loaded, let me tell you. And it actually overpowers that duct tape that I don't like the taste of. So it's really good. Very good thing. Okay. Well, let's get on to this liquid fertilizer, shall we?
Yes. What have you been collecting? What are you?
Well, so one thing I wanted to talk about liquid fertilizer today. So if any of you are thinking about doing Jadam next year, not this year, next year, if you're thinking, maybe I should do that. Well, now is the perfect time to start. Right now.
Even earlier than we thought.
Even earlier than we thought. We thought September, right? Nope. And the reason is because you want diversity, just like we're teaching diversity in our gardens. You want diversity to be able to give your plants. And you can't give your plant diversity if you're not collecting and wildcrafting throughout the year. So like right now, you have plants that are flowering. You have plants that are seeding already. You have plants that are just starting to bloom, like stinging nettle in my area. Stinging nettle is really amazing and beautiful, abundant crop. Stinging nettle, what's the word I'm looking for? Stinging nettle, Yarrow is beautiful. That's blooming right now. I'm going to go out and collect some of them. I already have collected some. I have some clovers that are blooming. Thistle are starting to bloom. All of these things, you want to go out and you want to start scoping them. That's another thing in your yard. Go out and start taking pictures and scoping them, because you will see if there's pests on them. Then you'll know if they're a plant that catches them. In fact, because I was out scoping, I realized, oh my gosh, on my thistle, there's actually the same type of aphids that I think attacked my cannabis plants one year. And they're living on the thistle, which would make sense because thistles and cannabis love one another. They're in that family, right? So that's also a place you can try some of these pesticides on, and not necessarily try them on your plants. You could see if they kill them on that. So that's another thing right now. So, and also what you want to do is, it's similar. I think we're talking biodynamics is where you only take the top 6 inches. Also KNF, the only top 6 inches. So I'm saying top 6 inches because I'm guessing that's where the most of the nutrients is in. that's kind of the circle I'm going to follow and go, and I'm going to start collecting that. So something I want to play around with right now is I want to play around with collecting some our herbs and then having different buckets that they're in. Now, Jadam doesn't really teach that style. That's not really what they teach. They kind of teach like you collect all these grasses. And so right now we have all these grasses growing right now that are really abundant. And I've collected a whole bunch of grasses and I have that fermenting. And every week or so, I add to that. Every time I take out, I add more. I keep adding more. And that stuff's going to keep breaking down. In fact, I will grab my cannabis one. Drake, you want to have a conversation about that? I'll grab my cannabis one and show them what it looks like.
Yeah, I've been doing the exact same thing here with about a 40-gallon brute style container, just with a decent clip-on lid, but not airtight, because when you're doing lots of these ferments, they build quite a bit of pressure, so you want it to be able to off-gas slightly. I actually had one 5-gallon bucket, and a smaller version I did, that provided so much pressure to the fully sealed 5-gallon lid that it ballooned out, and I had to like submerge it underwater and drill it just because I was scared it was going to shoot all over the place, which it didn't. Just relieve the air pressure. But yeah, I've got a big style that I've been doing the same thing, adding weeds to a lot of stuff from around the property. I've got a big field nearby that I'm able to harvest from, and we just keep throwing those in at different times of the year at different growth, and as you take away, you replenish. And here we go. Here's a nice one that we can, it's cool because it's in the glass, so it gives you a good visual rendition. So this is
the Congo. I started go ahead, Drake, but go ahead. It's the Congo, but go ahead and talk about it.
Well, I was just gonna say, yeah, this is your Congo specific JLF, which is just made out of Congo material. But as it's, I mean, we can even just see here, I don't mind jumping into it a little bit more. You can see at the bottom where it's getting really dark and broken down, and the leaves are actually turning like into this mucky.
And I literally cannot smell it. Right here, I cannot smell it because this lid sits on here tight enough. Now, if this lid off gas or went to the side, it's going to stink. It doesn't smell good. But when you mix it with your soil, and it doesn't stink after that. You put the lid back on and it doesn't stink. So I personally can handle the stink because I don't have the time to commit to what K&F is. K&F is an amazing, I think, amazing growing style. I just know that I am not going to make OHN. I'm not going to stir it every day. The minute you don't stir it, the minute you use the wrong spoon and the wrong thing and the wrong stir stick or whatever, you've done it wrong. Like, I want to do everything right. So I feel like, to me, like, this is the easiest thing for me to start off with. So I'll take a little bit of the stink. So that's kind of where I'm sitting.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, by the way, this is all covered in foil. I just took the foil off so you could see this. It's super important not to have this in clear. It's cool to have it in clear so you can see it afterwards.
For these visual purposes.
Yeah, this is only for visual. So there you go.
That's a great point. I'm glad you brought that up. We didn't let it slip by, because you generally want it in.
So yeah, I have foil all around it. Yeah.
Wicked. And yeah, we're just been just learning and seeing and kind of practicing what's the least amount of work and the most kind of sustainable, and it's been a cool venture. And there's quite a few of the KNF inputs that I personally am going to be going through as well. I like kind of keeping on my toes and keeping up with stuff and trying to get like I can read about something and talk about it and even see someone else doing it is many times as I want, but it's just not the same for me as getting down and doing these things. So even for like my dandelion FBJ that I spoke about earlier, I'm probably going to go back out when it's the proper time and do it again correctly and go through and try and get a wide array of the amendments and inputs locked down, make a little IMO piles going. I have some IMO boxes, but I failed on my first couple collections. If there's a couple good spots, but just didn't look great. So we'll see and jump into it, but we're loving where we're at now. And we got all sorts of stuff that we're going to keep showing you. As easy as this Jadam style is, there's still a lot you can kind of add and do to spice things up. So we're going to keep it spicy. What'd you see, Tara? What's cool?
Fried Pepper's dropping some knowledge in chat. I'll have to check that out. Thanks, Fried Pepper. And also there was one of you guys dropped some knowledge about the eggs, and I didn't want to we didn't get back to that about the eggs. There was someone who dropped some knowledge about how to store eggs and something, and I didn't go back and read that in chat, and I remembered that today. Claude says comfrey is another one. Make tea. Cool. I don't have any comfrey. I would like to. Stinging nettle for tea. You're right. And also, so we also heard that stinging nettle for psoriasis also works. And I also heard JMS works. So my husband actually has psoriasis, and he's going to be a guinea pig. He knows that he's going to be a guinea pig for the stinging nettle because he says he wants to do that one because he hates he's tried a million things. And yeah, really the best thing that works is a suntan. If he gets out in the sun, it's really the best.
Interesting.
Yeah, weird.
But yeah, we can see a few pictures and stuff of the main practitioners having a bath right up to his neck in JMS, and he supports the fact that it cured him of his fungal issue in his legs, or in his feet. So
yeah. We're like so lucky that this family has they've interpreted this for us, that unfortunately, our ancestors, who knows, they could have been farming like this. We don't know. They didn't pass this all on because the chemical companies, came along, and the pharmaceutical companies and the fertilizer companies came along and said, oh, this is better. We can sell you our stuff, and don't make your own stuff because now you get to depend on us. And, so I just think like this is just finally empowering myself. And I love to empower and help people out and make them feel that they can do it. And so that's why Drake and I have committed to going live with you guys every Saturday and every Wednesday morning right now, because we want to really commit to you and be able to have you guys count on us and bring forth the newest and the most current information that we know on Jadam, because I think this is something new that a lot of people don't know enough about, and they're talking about. Drake?
No, I concur.
Let me see that little guy.
Oh, this little bugger.
Let's see that little guy. We're gonna have our puppy love today.
Huh? This little bugger. He's a big boy, aren't you? That's you. Oh, I'm gonna do that.
I can't count or it'll change to me. I can't count. I can't talk or it'll change to me. Because we can't spotlight. I keep forgetting about that. Then you change that in this thing. But anyways.
He's a little handful, but.
Oh no, someone's phone went dead. That's a bummer. Well, you'll have to catch the rest when you're back. Hey, Mike, how are you? Welcome, welcome. Okay, so the JLF, I wanted to mention that you start that we talked about the organic potato. Any other questions you guys have? Any questions before we take our final dabs and have our final thoughts for the show? JMS, IMO gets you probiotic, prebiotic. I don't know. I have no diet. I don't know. This is also this is so new to all of us. And even misinterpreted to all of us, where there's several books that are out. There's books that are maybe a little bit of contradicting themselves. So we've actually been in contact with them and emailing them to actually ask some questions to actually get the correct information to you guys. So it's pretty awesome. I'm super excited to be here.
Yeah, it definitely is. There's certain things like someone recently asked in a chat if they could be drinking JMS, and hard no, we can't advise that. No, and that's something coming from Youngstown too. Don't be drinking it. But a cool thing that we did learn that is done is when there's a properly sourced leaf mold soil collection. Young Sang and his whole family eat capsules, like the regular little capsules that you would have for any other sort of like say the mushroom blends or so on and so forth. And he fills them up with his leaf mold soil, and they eat those on a rather regular basis. And that's something that we found out recently that I thought that was pretty neat. Thought that was pretty cool.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's gonna.
Thanks for bringing that up. I forgot about that.
Diverse, right? Like in the leaf mold soil itself is what we're all trying to replicate. It's awesome. So that's why we really enjoy all these practices of expanding the microbes and utilizing what the indigenous environment around each and every one of us has to offer.
Exactly. And Claude says he can answer bee questions. Cool. Where are you at, Claude? Do you want to come in and we'd love to do an interview with you if you want to talk about bees. I'd love to interview any of you guys. If you guys would like to show your grow, if there's anything out there you guys would like to show off or you want to talk about, or even if you want to come in and ask questions with us, we have some amazing guests coming up that I'm super excited to bring to you guys. Drake, any final words today? I think I'm gonna heat up and what do I want? I want something new. I need something different. I think I need that missing grape. I really like that one. Oh no, let's orange sundaes. Orange sundaes. We're going in orange sundaes. This is what the terpene profile is for y'all.
Ghost Train Haze.
There you go.
Let's see if it'll give it to us.
Orange sundaes. Is it eligible?
Yep.
Okay. And there's the bottom. See, open this baby up. Did I miss any comments in chat? Any final questions, you all? I really appreciate y'all being here today. And if you'd all like to share this out, I'd really, really appreciate it. It helps grow the channel. Good old YouTube does not help.
Collect weeds and some grass and put them in a bucket, add some water. And then with the help of doing some research and ourselves and anyone else out there who knows it, get yourself a good leaf mold collection going. I'll spice it up with some non-ionized sea salt, and you'll be on your way to having some awesome, very cost-effective, if not the most cost-effective, and a little smelly fertilizer.
Yes.
Save that grass. Save it all.
Grayson says it's cool. Yes, let's see some home grows. Absolutely. That's what we're here for, you guys. We're really here for the small grower. That's who I am. I have my home grow, Drake's Kitten Basement.
You would never know by our exotic studios that we're actually in our own homes right this minute.
I fucking love it. You're so funny. There you go, y'all.
Looking good. I like it. Dabs up.
That smells amazing. I love the smell of that one. That's Sunday one. Yeah. Orange. I needed some orange in my life today. I love the fruits. Love. I'm going to move to a different bong because I want to hit a bigger one. So I have been playing around with sizes of rigs. So I have 3 sizes here today. There you go. There's 2. There's baby. There's mid. I'm going to hit big. I've been playing around with different sizes. I can hit bigger dabs with this one and a little bit hotter if I really need to take a nice big rip. But the tasty ones are really with this one. But they're small. You got to clean them out more. But this one is a nice percolating one. I do have to say it's a is it percolating? No, what do you call it? Recycling. Excuse me, recycler. It's a recycler. There you go. It's a recycler. So there you go. That one's, it's amazing. Amazing. But yeah, I'm gonna hit this other one. So thanks everybody for being here again today. And if y'all want to stay and take one last rip with us and feel like we're all session together. And I would also love to throw out a Zoom link to you all. Maybe Wednesday morning after our live show on Wednesday. we'll throw the link out to y'all, or we'll have an open panel on Wednesday. We'll see if anybody wants to jump in and show their grow on Wednesday. Why don't we do that after the show? That would be really fun.
Good old show your grow.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I would definitely do that if you guys want to do that. Heck yeah.
Ooh, that ghost train haze fucking stomped. My goodness.
Woo. Yeah, I don't want to throw out a link to you guys if you aren't ready to join, because I really want to have your mic all set up, and I really want to kind of meet you and make sure you look the best. So it's really best if we kind of meet a little bit or if you're already set up on another show and you've done this before, I'd totally throw you the link if you know how to Zoom and all that. Absolutely. I'd definitely show you the link. You can come hang out with us anytime.
And please do. And doesn't have to be on air, as Tara mentions. We love to just hang on the back end and chat and see what everyone's up to and hear each individual little story. And it's always so cool. And we seem to just meet such neat individuals. And obviously with platforms like this and with what goes on, we're all pretty like-minded. So we've already got that shoe in the door. So it's kind of an icebreaker. Cheers, everyone. I hope you're enjoying some form of medication right now. I can barely talk. My eyes are trying to seal shut. I've got my throat's raspy, but it feels so good. It hurts so good, just like a deep tissue massage.
That was a good one. See, I wouldn't be able to talk. If I would have hit it on the little one, I wouldn't be able to talk after that.
Drink some
It's
water.
crazy. It's crazy the difference. And also, you guys, clean your rigs every day. You should clean those every day. That's funguses and stuff in that water, and you guys should really care about the clean water that you drink.
They get dirty so fast. Like this was cleaned before this sesh, and we can already see there's some buildup sneaking in this little guy. So
yes,
clean. You don't want to be puffing a dirty rig, especially not if you're spending good money on meds or working so hard to produce it.
Ding, 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 ding. Fried Pepper brought the last PMS, the last tip of the day coming in. Yes, FPJs made from brachias, bad for mycorrhizo, like the live plant. Yes, I understand that brachias, even growing lettuces, any of that family in with your cannabis in that zone isn't always the best. And the reason is because our cannabis likes a fungal dominancy zone. And that's what they're finding out. Trees like fungal dominancy, just like you wouldn't grow lettuce below a tree because you wouldn't get the shade or the sun that it would need and stuff. So there's just certain things that we're learning about different rhizomes and stuff, atmospheres that plants grow better in. That's why you go out in the forest and in these tree areas, diverse tree areas, and collect your leaf mold soil. So super important. Thanks for bringing that up, Fried Pepper. Great job. Thanks everybody for being here today. Drake?
I hope that was the question that you were inferring that I had missed prior, Fried. But yeah, everyone, I hope you have a fantastic day. If there's anything else, please just, if we miss it, just leave it in chat after or reach out to us personally. And we'd love to give you feedback whenever we get a chance, or even better, have you on off air to come chill.
Absolutely. As always, peace and love. And you can always reach out to us on Instagram, DM either one of us. Drake's also on Facebook. We will have that Discord chat up soon. Actually, we will release that. We will release that next show. We will release our Discord next show. What? And we will also have a Zoom. We'll have a Zoom after our next show. So next Wednesday, come hang out with us. Come show us show your grow. Whatever you want to show us. Maybe show us an animal. Maybe if you have a pet animal. I love to show my animals. Maybe I'll show my goose. Maybe I'll bring in my goose next week.
Show your goose.
I'll bring in my goose. Y'all want to see my goose or my chickens? Leave a comment. Let me know.
You have to choose. All right. Cheers, everyone. Have a great day.
Cheers, y'all. Bye.